Welcome, and thank you for being with us tonight for the candidate forum for the Castro Valley Unified School District Board of Education, District 5. I am Joe Loss of the League of Women Voters in the Eden area. For full disclosure, I have served on the Board of Education, but have been retired for almost 4 years. I have not served with or endorsed either candidate. The League of Women Voters is a trusted membership organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. We do not endorse or oppose candidates or political parties. For decades, we have offered fair and balanced candidate forums. The League participates in advocacy and voter education. The advocacy arm of the League may take positions on issues such as ballot measures. This forum is presented by the education arm of the League. I'd like to remind everyone that the candidates have all agreed to participate under the ground rules set for this forum. The League is very proud of their history of civil discourse and nonpartisan forums. This is an educational event, not a debate. Before we get started, there are some details to review that will help you interact with this session. Microphones are muted for everyone except for the candidate and the moderator. Video images will show the candidates and the moderator. Candidates will stay on the screen for the entire forum and will mute until it is their turn to speak. We're recording this forum and we'll be posting it via our website and YouTube for the broader community to access. This evening, we are trying the captions in Spanish for those of you that can use the Spanish language. We have one forum to present in this session. It will be for the position of Castro Valley Unified School District Board of Education, District 5. There are two candidates running for this elected office. All candidates were invited to participate in this forum. We are handling questions for the candidates in the following manner. The League is proud of its outreach to our community. Questions for this forum have been solicited in advance and from our local leagues. We have screened the questions to ensure that they are fair and unbiased and to avoid duplication and anything inappropriate. The order of answering questions will alternate, and each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to each question. The chat function on the Zoom will not be active. Please keep an eye on the timekeeper screen. The clock will signal the candidates their remaining time and when their turn is up. As moderator, I may also verbally give you prompts. Remember that if you go over time, I will remind you. If you violate the ground rules, you can be muted, prevented from answering future questions, or removed from the forum. There will be no separate rebuttals. Following the question, each candidate will have 2 minutes for a closing statement. The order of the candidates has been randomly assigned, and the speaking order will alternate. We will begin with opening statements with candidate Chung, and the first question will be given to candidate Kuziak. Candidate Chung, your opening statement, please.
Hello, my name is John Chung, and I'm running for the school district board here in Castro Valley. I want to thank you, Joe, and the League of Women Voters for hosting and moderating this forum and allowing us to come and share our opinions and our passion for helping the students in our district. I am new to Castro Valley. I just moved here earlier this year with my family. We come from San Lorenzo. We are excited about being a part of this district and sending my 3 kids here who are actually now a part of the schools here. And I just wanted to get involved, as I have always been a firm believer in community participation and involvement. In the past, I served most recently on the San Lorenzo Village HOA board for about 3 years, where we helped homeowners take care of issues relating to the community as much as their homes. And I am also a self-employed business owner, have been for the past decade in the greater Bay Area. So I think I can bring a lot of good experience, a fresh perspective on the board if I were to be elected in terms of problem management, education, working with the current board as it is. I do want to say, Mike, I spoke with him personally yesterday, and he is a gentleman in every sense of the word. And I am looking forward to just a good, healthy election and to see how I can contribute to this community and to the board with my talents and background. And I look forward to hearing what questions there are for me. And want to thank you for
Thank you.
everyone for having me. Thank you.
So Shalini, we're not seeing your timer. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to do it on my phone, or
No, it's
Linda.
right here. Mr. It's right next to my picture.
It stopped.
Yeah,
It wasn't
right now I stopped
progressing.
it. Okay.
Well, I apologize then. You had 6 seconds left, Mr. Chung. I apologize. The next opening statement will come from candidate Kuziak. 2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Kuziak. Currently on the Board of Trustees for the Castro Valley Unified School District. I just want to make a shout out to John. It's good to see you. And we had a lovely conversation yesterday about our passion for our kids and our students and our community. I want to thank the league for bringing us together tonight. I started out as a new dad in Castro Valley when I moved here. My son was 9 months old, and I'm really proud how our connection to our community really was established through being a part of the Castro Valley Elementary School community, and then the Chabot School community, then the Creekside School community, and now the Castro Valley High School community. I have two sons in our Castro Valley schools, and I saw how our neighborhood elementary schools in particular really define how we connect in Castro Valley, and they create a sense of who we are, or our identities are, and how we work together. And it makes Castro Valley very special. I wanted to rise to service because I see a deficit in our community in participation. We are an unincorporated community. Our school district is our biggest form of government here, other than Alameda County. I started in the middle of COVID, which was a pretty rough time to be a school board trustee anywhere in the United States or around the world at that time. And I'm really proud of what we accomplished in that time with really good stewardship by our superintendent and staff. I see a school district that really is leading the way for the future of Castro Valley. We're committed to having a workforce that is reflective of our majority minority student population. I'm proud that I bring a perspective as someone who's lived a pretty interesting life, the son of a single mom, someone who's experienced poverty and a lot of ups and downs. But it's from that lens of equity and how schools provide for all that I'm here tonight and want to continue serving for 4 more years. Thank you.
Thank you. So time to take a deep breath. As I said, we have many questions. So we will start question number 1 with candidate Kuziak. What is the number 1 factor that led you to run for this office?
A lot of it, as I alluded to, was my childhood. I lost my mom during the course of the last election, and it brought a lot of perspective about what we went through. She was a single mom. We were homeless. I didn't have the words to call it that until I was older in life, moving from home to home, living on mattresses. Schools they were the places where I got a lunch. It's where our needs were taken care of. It's where I really excelled in life. I think in a community like Castro Valley, sometimes we forget about the most vulnerable of our students. We imagine that we don't have homeless students, that we don't have families who are struggling. So it's really about how American public education is this equalizing force and creates opportunity for all. That really brings me here. And then added to that is seeing how these relationships with teachers in this community with my own children have changed their lives. So I'm very passionate about how public schools to transform me and how they can transform society.
Thank you. Candidate Chung.
Yeah, I want to commend Mike for his resiliency and overcoming a lot of early childhood obstacles and to being where he is today and see him as a father and someone that's involved in the community. I would say I'm on a similar track. I've always been a big believer in being hands-on with my kids and their lives and trying to direct them and model to them what it means to be part of a healthy family and community. And having 3 kids who are now part of the schools here in Castro Valley, I have 2 in Stanton and 1 in Canyon. I just want to be an involved parent. I want to be someone that's um, doing everything that I can to shape their education in a positive way. Not just my kids. I think all the kids here in the community, and just being able to be a part of that and have an opportunity to shape that in a way that will lead them to a better future, I think is not and a privilege as much as it is a duty. And so,
Thank you.
yeah.
All right. Question number 2. What do you view, this is for candidate Chung, and please feel free to ask me to repeat a question if you'd like that. Candidate Chung, what do you view as the role and responsibilities of a board member, and how do your skills and qualifications enable you to be a good fit to serve?
Yeah, I have no experience being on a school board in my history. However, I am interested in learning how to work in collaboration with the existing board members, hearing the issues. I know there are certain issues that are more pertinent than others, but I would really like to join the team as a team member to offer what I have, um, whether it's from my education, from business. I do participate in the mental health community as a registered associate. So there's a big focus for me, I would say, on just not just addressing the educational needs of the students, but also their mental health, their security. And so just seeing how I can be involved in that conversation and how I can help the kids in those ways is a big priority for me.
Thank you. Candidate Kuzia.
Well, I know the California School Boards Association would want me to say that the purpose of this board is to hire a superintendent and to set policy. I think it's a lot more than that in our actions and the influence we have, the conversations we have with our superintendent, the conversations we have as a board. One thing that I'm really proud of as a parent, I believe it's important that we create space for parents to be on our school board. Oftentimes, public service is extremely tough to achieve when you're a parent, you have a full-time job, and you're trying to do this as well. So that parent perspective is really important. I think what's really humbling once you're on the board is you do appreciate you are one of 5 trying to find a common cause, and oftentimes it's the long game. And that's why I'm seeking a second term, because you appreciate it's the idea that you started in your first term or early on, that you really, after some experience and some collaboration and building some equity, that you can actually achieve that goal.
Thank you. Our next question goes to candidate Kuziak. What do you see as the greatest challenges facing the school district and why? And what do you view as the obstacles to overcome these challenges?
I mean, the common denominator is our funding. We've been kicking the can intergenerationally since 1978 when we passed Prop 13 in the state. We are underfunding our public education in our state. We see it in the quality of our infrastructure, in the fact that our staff, our families, our teachers can't afford to live in the Bay Area and to live in our communities anymore. So I see it very interconnected, right? It's the quality of our actual infrastructure. We receive very little funds every year to actually support our infrastructure, and we have to go out to the community to ask for bonds to help support that infrastructure. But we know that we probably can't ask enough to do the things that we want to actually have those 21st century school buildings. So I think it really comes back to the funding model, and that stems from, Sacramento, the state of California. And I think as a school board member, we need to think outside of our district sometimes to fight for real fundamental reform in how we fund education.
Thank you. I don't know where the noise is. I know it's not here, but let's if someone has the ability to turn it off, I would appreciate it. So
Joe,
candidate Chung, What do you see as the greatest challenges facing the school district and why? And what do you view as the obstacles to overcome these challenges?
Again, not having been on the board and been able to see what those problems are, I think one thing that I can do in light of these problems, such as budgeting and pulling in funds, is bring in a fresh perspective. And with a business background, I hope I can offer some type of outsider view on how to bring some creative or innovative solutions to these issues. I think there are no easy answers. Otherwise, the board or Mike would have had the answer ready at hand. And so I think it takes a lot of ability to work together collaboratively to find continued solutions, whether it's from looking out in the community and getting answers from people who might have some solutions or ideas on how to make things work better for the students.
Thank you. Candidate Chung, the next question goes to you first. What does the district's motto of all means all mean to you?
I think it's, for me, it would mean something that no one is left behind, no student, whether it's your background, your ability, your identity. I think Castro Valley is a place where hopefully people feel welcomed, no matter what their backgrounds are, and being a place where I think where we are right now in America, we have an ability to welcome everybody and to give everyone an equal chance to succeed. And especially with what we have, I think we have a responsibility to do that. And so I think Castro Valley takes up that mantle in a good way.
Thank you. Candidate Kuziak.
One of my favorite times of the year is graduation, and we always hear the Black National Anthem, and all to all means to me means lift every voice and sing. Like that's what we're aspiring to in our district. And I see such a big heart in our district. I see a district that it fights for everyone. I know what we're doing behind the scenes to support our most vulnerable students. I also know what we're doing to welcome all perspectives and different points of view in our classrooms, whether you're LGBTQ, whether you are very religious, despite your ethnic background. I see a community and a spirit, particularly at Castro Valley High School, where welcoming everyone is just what you do. And it's really, I think it's something very special in Castro Valley and in Castro Valley High School that maybe right now we can't appreciate as much as how profoundly amazing it is. But it's about lifting everyone.
Thank you. So we have a follow-up question here. It will go to candidate Kuziak next. It's what should the school board do to meet all students' unique needs?
Well, we have different strategies. It is a public school. And so we try to meet as many students as we can. That's why we have special education. That's why we have IEPs and individual education plans and 504 plans to support students when we identify where they need additional supports. I think that what you also do is in your curriculum, you provide different pathways. If you look at what we do at the high school in particular, we provide a lot of college and non-college sort of career and technical opportunities, whether it's through our own district or in collaboration with other districts. So we meet the needs of our students also just by listening to our students, listening to our kids. I'm really impressed by the work of the district to call in our students, to hear their perspectives, to understand what their needs are when we make decisions. And that's something I think is it's very special about our district.
Thank you. Candidate Chung.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Sure. What should the school board do to meet all students' unique needs?
Yeah, I would just say coming from my position, I think there needs to be a willingness to just be able to learn and listen from the voices that are out there, not just the ones that are the most prominent, but a lot of times it's the voices that are not being heard, that are not as assertive. And so that I think takes a lot of intentionality to go out there and hear who these voices are in order to make everyone feel like they're being heard and their needs are being met in an academic and educational sense. So I would say culture, where people are from, is a big issue as well when it comes to being able to meet those needs. So understanding that people have different backgrounds and one answer may be good for one person but not the next, and so trying to find a way to appeal to these different aspects of community in a way I think is a challenge, but it's something that I think we can address together.
Thank you. Okay, the next question goes to candidate Chung. The Surgeon General has advised parents to limit the use of cell phones and social media, especially for younger students. What policy would you advocate for this issue?
All I can say, just as a parent, I do agree with that statement. In terms of policy, that would be something I think would have to be determined and assessed and analyzed with the other board members and with feedback from parents, because without feedbacks from the community, I think we could be usurping some of their role. And so I think the most effective way to raise kids in this generation where there is so much access to social media and tech and so forth, we need to have the parents on board so that it doesn't just become, so we don't just become the parent of that kind of situation. So I think it takes a lot of teamwork and feedback from families and community together.
Thank you. Candidate Kuziak.
Well, policymaking should be something where you're listening to people, where you bring in different perspectives, you do your research. As someone who's been a community organizer, I think it's important that you listen. I do agree with where the governor is going with this, and that we need to look at limits of cell phone use in our classrooms. I am absolutely open to the conversation. There was a fascinating program today on KQED that really talked about the pros and cons, and do you do it at the classroom level? Do you do it at a school-wide level? But the reality is that, particularly as we've come back from the pandemic, anecdotally talking to teachers, you'll hear, like during block days at Castro Valley High School, where maybe a teacher will give kids a 5-minute break or something, that there's complete silence in the room. Kids are looking down, and there are real health issues associated with anxiety, social media, and social media use. I think that if we are committed to making instructional time where it's optional by teacher discretion, I think that's the right way to go.
Thank you. Our next question will go to candidate Kuziak. How can the Castro Valley Unified School District School Board set policies to ensure the safety of our students?
Well, we just had a board meeting talking about what we do to promote safety, and I think safety, particularly when we think about social media spaces and the lack of a solid daily newspaper, can mean a lot of different things depending on who you're talking to. Safety can mean investments in social and emotional supports and mental health services for our kids. Safety can be the hardening that we've seen in some of our elementary schools. You have to press a button to get into our elementary school campuses, which I think is important. We've invested also in security officers in our secondary schools, which I think is important. It's also about having a collaborative relationship with our sheriff. I'm really proud that I am endorsed by Yesenia Sanchez, our sheriff. And I think it speaks to a new era in how we can have a more productive conversation with law enforcement about their role in supporting our schools. So it's about collaboration. I think it's also defining what safety means, knowing that it means a lot of different things for different people. But in a country that allows gun violence and guns to be around, I think that's another conversation we need to be having as well. Should it be the schools having to deal with those consequences?
Thank you. Candidate Chung.
Yeah, I would say this is probably one of my most important topics that I would like to address or look further into. Having 3 kids in the school system, and you hear a lot about school shootings going on throughout the country in random areas, and a lot of times I think as parents we have that question in the back of our mind: what if something were to happen locally here? And so finding what the most effective, safest situation can be that we can help set up for our kids is something that I'm actually wanting to find out more about. I do know from research that we used to have sheriff presence in our schools, and during the cultural movements that were going a couple of years ago, that was stopped. So I would actually like to look into that again to see if we can develop some type of relationship with the sheriff, as Mike said, and how we can help our kids feel more safe and then parents more at ease when they're not there.
Thank you. Okay, our next question, and this goes to candidate Chung. What are the educational gaps or weaknesses you see in the performance of the district, and how would you like to improve them?
Admittedly, this is not a topic I'm too well informed on. This is something that I'm willing to learn more about by just being on the board and being able to listen and hear what those gaps can be and how they can be closed. I can say that I moved to Castro Valley because their school system here has a good reputation, and I wanted my kids who were previously homeschooled to come to this place where they can be a part of a public school system and grow from benefit from what's already here. And so part of my goal would be to see how I can further strengthen that and draw more better families to the area.
Thank you. Candidate Kuzia.
Well, as my colleague trustee Howard can attest, an area that I really feel passionate about are world languages, seeing how we can expand access to it at an earlier age in our schools. I started learning German in the 8th grade. I was fortunate to spend summers there and live with host families, spend my junior year of college there. And it really opened up a different view of the world just by being a world traveler, someone who could sort of think and speak in a different language. I'd like to see us get that into our elementary schools, and by starting into the middle schools and moving lower and lower. I think that's really important. I see that as a gap. I'd like to see how we could look at sort of the college track for our schools. I appreciate that we have to serve a lot of different students. I think we have strong technical and vocational opportunities, but how could we expand AP choices like the AP seminar program, something to really give more rigor to those who are doing college prep, I think is an opportunity for us as well.
Thank you. Candidate Kuziak, the next question is, what do you see as budget priorities for Castro Valley Unified School District?
Our number one priority is to ensure that we have teachers in our classroom for our students, period. About 85% of our budget are human resources, and the top we spend a lot of money on teachers, appropriately so. One thing that I'm proud of our district, if you look at where we put administrative costs, and oftentimes I too work for a public agency. I work for the University of California. People will often, I think, erroneously talk about administrative costs being too high. We're a very lean organization. I see that in what our number of admins to our overall organization. But as I like to also say, we're not a one-room schoolhouse in the little house on the prairie. We are a complex organization where we have specialized skills that support our teachers in the classroom. We have a payroll system. We have a lunch service, et cetera. So that's all I have for you.
Okay, thank you. Candidate Chung, what are your budget priorities?
I would say not being on the board, just being from where I am right now, I would say my desire for the budget priorities would be to make sure our teachers are taken care of. So to draw and keep the teachers that are making a great impact on our students in their lives. That would be something I'd be highly supporting. And also, I know this is not a new issue, but I think the transportation issue is something that for some kids, especially our family here who are on the other side of where Creek Canyon is, um, seeing what can be done more about the transportation for buses and helping families get to the school without having to go through half hour of traffic getting in and out of the schools, picking up the students. And so that would be something that, just based on where I am right now, I would be looking to advocate for.
Thank you. Okay, the next question will go to candidate Chung. And the question is, what is your position on charter schools?
I would say I don't really have an opinion on that matter at this time. Um, yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Candidate Kuziak.
I'm not supportive of charter schools. We're lucky in Castro Valley that we have none in our district. I see them as a drain on resources and really a cynical response to a lack of investment in the districts. It's almost like it's digging a deeper hole for a lot of these districts where public funds are being diverted to private resources. And the quality of the job it matters as well. We want credentialed teachers who are in the classroom, who are receiving a fair wage. And we also want quality education for our students. I think there's a certain privilege why we don't talk about them in Castro Valley. We've had a well-performing school district. I have empathy for communities where they've had challenges with the quality of their public schools, but I see as the fundamental issue is we're not actually adequately funding our schools. But no, I'm not supportive of the existence of charter schools. I don't see them as supportive of public education.
Thank you. Next question goes to candidate Kuziak first. How would you work to engage our families and the community and ensure that all voices are heard?
Well, I like to say that I'll talk to anyone, and I know that sometimes will get me into trouble, but I'll talk to anyone, and I did that particularly as we were trying to deal with the complexity of coming out of the pandemic, listening to dissenting voices, listening to people who might make you feel uncomfortable or you might not think who would agree with you in the first place. We have a lot of good opportunities to meet with our diverse communities within Castro Valley. I was really excited to be at the African American family picnic a few weeks ago, going to our different school sites, going to parents clubs, visiting our classrooms. I have an open door policy where anyone is welcome to reach out to me, and I, I, I wish more people would take advantage of it. But as much as I can't solve specific problems, I'm not like uh, your concierge service for the school district. I can listen and I can guide you and provide support, and I'll do that for anyone.
Thank you. Candidate Chung.
Yeah, I would say, having been on the HOA board previously, sometimes all you hear are complaints, and I no doubt believe that is something that can probably happen here as well. But that being said, I think in this kind of situation, you actually have to go out to the community and be a part of those those conversations. It has to be very intentional, and so that would be something that I'd be um, interested in doing, whether it's talking to parents at the schools or students, and just going out to the events that we have here in Castro Valley throughout the year. I think that's important in order to get a good gauge of where people are at. Some people that your voices may not be very loud, but are still just as important. So I think it's important. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to satisfy everybody, but um, that's, I think, part of being in a community. You try to do your best to meet all those needs.
Thank you. Our next question will go to candidate Chung. Over the last few years, the school district has invested heavily in behavioral health. Last year, the district opened a medical clinic at Castro Valley High School. Is there anything else or other avenues you see that the board should take to ensure the health of our students?
Yeah, having worked in the mental health field for the past few years and being part of that currently, aside from my running my business, I would say that would be a priority for me, is just being able to, you know, um, when COVID happened, we saw a surge of mental health problems rising with teenagers, which are still affecting a lot of them to this day. And I think it's important as educators and as people who are in authority to be able to recognize those needs and try to uh, mend them as much as within our responsibility and power. And by reaching out to people who, who attend these schools who are in need, can go a very long way, because sometimes people are very silent and they may not be sharing these problems and issues with their parents, and sometimes they just need an outsider caring voice to do that. And so that'd be something I'd be interested in pursuing as well.
Thank you. Candidate Kuziak.
Yeah, it's important to me that we normalize talking about mental health and depression. I'm very open with everyone that I struggle with depression every day of my life. And I've been really, it's been very heartening to see how the district has doubled down to support mental health support for all of our students, and social emotional learning, I think, is also sort of a community way to extend that conversation into the classroom, to demystify mental health. I was really touched when two boys from Creekside were at our board meeting last year, and they were talking about how they go to the wellness center there and destigmatizing that. Two boys talking about their mental health and how they go to the wellness center for support was really heartening to hear, and really moving. So one thing I've said at board meetings, and I continue to say, is, we talk about budget priorities. We must maintain our investments in mental and social emotional health. And it's absolutely, in this post-pandemic era, the mental health impacts to everyone, not just our students, but to our families, everyone, are tremendous, and we need to maintain those.
Thank you. Thank you. You're both doing a terrific job. I warned you that there were lots and lots of questions. I have pages left, but we will probably have about 2 more before we close for your closing statements. So here, the next question goes to candidate Kuziak first. Castro Valley Unified School District is the lowest funded per capita district in Alameda County. What new ideas do you have for attracting additional funding?
Yeah, that really comes to kind of where we are in the socioeconomic ladder of things. We Schools that are more socioeconomically challenged receive concentration grants to support them. Schools that are communities that are much richer than ours are able to self fund their schools in a way that we can't. We're stuck in the middle, and it stinks. One of the things I'm really proud of is when I was the campaign manager for Measure G. That's one way you do it, by getting bond money. We should be talking about a tax measure to help bolster our instruction in our schools. We came so close to it right before COVID. I think we should give that a try again in the next few years. And it's also bringing this conversation to Sacramento. There's something fundamentally broken in how we support schools in California. Again, when you think about what's left over at the end of the day, when you see what this district does with the minimal resources it receives, you would be very proud of the stewardship of those funds.
Thank you. Candidate Chung.
Yeah, I don't think this is a simple solution. There's a simple solution by any means. I think I'd be curious to see what other school districts are doing to help meet their needs, whether it's with budgets or issues that require a higher budget or increasing the budget. Even with like the school bus, like we can't afford school buses here because of the expense that goes into it. So I'd be curious to see what other school district boards are doing to help meet those needs. I know not all the needs can be met financially, but by just being innovative and creative, and sometimes thinking outside the box. So I would like to be on the board to see what can be done to help address some of these issues, and how having a lower budget is impacting our students and families, and seeing what we can do to offset that in not just traditional means, but in more creative means as well.
Thank you. Candidate Chung, the next question is, how can the board be accessible and a board member accessible to the community?
I think that takes a lot of time, right? We have to make time for sure. I think in this day and age, we can be very busy, but when you go and run for this type of position, you assume that responsibility. And so I would like to not just be in a place where I'm, on this board, but just as much as I'm being a part of the community as well. And so I would like to go out and and see how that can be done, and to hear the voices and meet the people, not just the families that have been here for decades, but the ones that have been here just like mine for only less than half a year, because that's the beauty of the diversity and the culture that we live in today, where there are a lot of different groups, and just being able to understand it. I was born and raised in California, lived about 8 years in Indiana. So one of the things my wife said about me is she married me for my Midwestern values. So I think we all offer great things, and I'd be curious to see,
Thank you.
yeah, how I can get more involved. Thank you.
Can you just repeat that
Candidate
one more time?
Kuziak.
Yeah, can you just repeat that one more time?
No, please, your question, how can the board be accessible and board members accessible to the community?
Very good. I think this is where, as a parent, I am very accessible to my kids already, and I spend a lot of times at school events, at the side of a field. It was so much fun going to the football game last week, and just walking around and listening. And everyone will pull you aside. They'll say something to you. They'll talk to you. There are a lot of community events that really let you connect and learn. You also talk to the people that support staff in our school. Learn about what it takes to clean a bathroom in our district, what it takes to maintain our facilities. You really get to know all the different stakeholders in our district. I've really enjoyed going during the school day when I can, to just see different classrooms, and to even go and attend student groups over at Creekside with my own son. So you have to be very intentional to connect, get to different meetings, have one-on-ones with different community members. And I always give people my card, and I tell students too, send me an email, send the
Thank you.
superintendent an email, just, we're always there.
Thank you. Okay, you take one big deep breath. This is our last question, and then we'll move to closing statements. And this question goes to candidate Kuziak first. Each board member has one vote, and it takes a majority vote to take action. How do you see your approach, skills, and expertise assisting you in building a collaborative board and staff?
Well, this year I'm honored to be serving as the board president, and I tend to go last now because of that role. And you have to you have to listen a lot, and you have to hear. You have to see the common threads. You have to repeat things. You have to understand what one board member is saying over here and what the other board member is saying there, and seeing if there's a consensus there. So it takes a lot of listening. It takes a lot of and assuming the best intentions of everyone in the room. And I'm really proud of the board culture that we have. It's something that I think has carried on um, through multiple boards. And I think there's something very special about the board in Castro Valley as compared to other districts. We function very well. There's a lot of drama in surrounding districts. So we have a certain culture that respects each other's points of view, but also realizes that we have decisions that we have to make, and we have to come to a consensus. And darn it, we're going to do that.
Thank you. Candidate Chung.
Yeah, I think for someone like me that's coming in fresh, it would it would take a lot of listening that's needed, a lot of humility to learn from the experience and the background of others who have been a part of the board and the community for a much longer time than I have. And so uh, my effort to be able to contribute to this board would be contingent on how well I can work with them. And so a lot of that I think would entail not taking things personal, or getting too much involved with the emotions, but just understanding that there are common goals that we all have, which I think is to make and improve the education of all our students here in Castro Valley. So I'd be, understanding that central goal, I'd be more inclined to just be hearing out what others have to say, and offering where I can offer better input in those kind of situations that matter, and working overall towards that one goal.
Thank you. Okay, we will now move to closing statements. This is 2 minutes, and we will begin with candidate Kuziak.
Again, I want to thank the league for bringing us together this evening, And thank you, John. This has been a really good conversation and hearing our different positions. It really has been a privilege in the past 4 years being on the school board. There's, I will just say, a lot of imposter syndrome. It's something that I don't think I could have ever imagined. I didn't contemplate a career in public office. It's very humbling, honestly, when you realize your neighbors selected you to do something in support of your community. There's a lot of opportunities and there's a lot of work to be done in Castro Valley, whether it's looking at our transportation needs. As a West Side parent, I do think we need to have a conversation about the placement of our middle schools and how we move our kids around our community, or if it's fighting for curricular choices like more world languages or AP courses. I'm eager to continue that fight, and I'm really excited by what I have learned. It is an uphill battle when you start a school in this type of position. You're receiving a lot of information, and throwing the fact that it was during the global pandemic, that was another factor that really made it for an interesting time. I'm proud of the work we did. We got more kids back than most surrounding districts because we listened to our community. We provided choices. We provided flexibility. So I do hope to serve another 4 years in service to my community and to my own two sons here. And I would just point out who supported me. I'm supported by the California Democratic Party. I'm supported by Congressman Eric Swalwell, Assemblywoman Liz Ortega, Sheriff Yesenia Sanchez, all those relationships and those endorsements, even the Castro Valley Democrats and our Castro Valley Teachers Association, those represent relationships. Those represent many conversations and an investment in my community. And so I would be humbled to be able to continue that investment and support for more resilient Castro Valley schools and to really see through the vision that I had when I was elected. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Chung, your closing statement.
Yes, fine. Thank you as well for hosting this forum tonight, Joe, and the League of Women Voters. I recently moved here to Castro Valley with my family after wanting to raise them in a beautiful community such as this place. I have 3 young kids, and I believe that this place has a lot to offer. I would like to contribute and add on to what we offer as a community, not just to my family, but to all the families that are here and that are wanting to come here. In terms of experience, I don't have any direct board experience, but I do have experience serving on a prior board, most recently with the San Lorenzo Village HOA, which included a lot of similar duties and responsibilities as a board here. I'm also a son of immigrants from South Korea. My parents came here in the 1970s to start a better life for themselves and for a family. Here we were raised in the Bay Area, and I was able to attend a number of different schools here, both public and private. And I look forward to just bringing that experience from the education that I've had and the culture that I've had to seeing how I can help add to the voices that are not heard and to the existing issues that are going on right now. I do hold a degree at Pepperdine University in psychology, so I would like to address the mental health needs of our kids. I would like to address the safety needs of them, and just seeing how we can just improve things. And the way things have been going right now, I know there are a lot of issues, and there will continue to be issues. So I'd like to be a part of that conversation to see what I can offer, not just with my educational and cultural background, but with my business background as well. And I want to thank you for your vote, and thank you for hearing me out. And just say this is a privilege as well for myself, and I'm honored to be part of this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank both candidates. To the attendees tonight, we know some of you have not had your particular question addressed. The screeners combined similar questions of general interest to the audience in the limited time we had. We hope that you will contact the candidates directly for additional information. Your local league also participates in Vote 411, an online collection of candidates' information. We encourage you to view the candidates' information there. If you've moved or changed your name or wish to change your party affiliation since you last registered, you need to re-register. Online voter registration is available at the Secretary of State's website, sos.ca.gov. It's secure and easy. The deadline to register to vote online is October 21st. Voters may also register to vote on Election Day and vote provisionally. Ballots will begin to be mailed out on Monday, October 7th. Start watching for yours. You can vote in person, by mail, or place your ballot in the official Alameda County ballot drop box. Whatever you do, please remember to cast your ballot on or before Election Day, November 5th. Thank you, candidates, for participating this evening. Thank you, attendees, for taking time to become an educated voter. We also had many volunteers participating and want to thank them for their help. We welcome any of you to join the League of Women Voters in doing the hands-on work to empower voters and defend democracy. Please vote on November 5th. Thank you.